Well, welcome to Super Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have with us Manny Cabo. How are you, Manny?
I'm great. How about you, my friend? Thanks for having me.
It's amazing. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the show. The audience, if anyone knows Manny or doesn't know him, we're going to talk to him today. Obviously, you know, I was on Clubhouse and I heard this man speak, and right away I had this urge that I need to bring him on the show, not just his voice or what he was saying, just basically what he was talking about and everything. So I'm honored that he gave us his time, and we'll get to know him better today in today's episode. So I'll let you kind of take the stage and kind of introduce yourself, everything that you're involved with, Manny.
Sure, Shahid. No worries. Well, you know, that's a loaded question. And as you know already, there's a lot of layers to what I do, you know, from being a vocalist to a professional music editorial photographer, podcaster, dad, trying to be a decent husband from time to time. So there's certainly tons of layers. But at the end of the day, you know, not to sound pretentious, but I'm an artist. This is my world, what I do. It's my passion. And I'm always walking my truth. So technically, from whatever angle you want to look at it, you see what I did there, pun intended, whatever angle you look at, you know, being an artist is what I love. But above that, it's inspiring others to take them to that next level, and collectively to bring the vibration up of all those that I work with. That's what I've always strived for. And just to share, you know, a tragic moment. I just lost my dad to COVID about.
Oh, sorry to hear.
Yeah, and it's been, I got to tell you, I'm not going to lie, full transparency. It's been brutal because my dad was the principal reason why I became any type of creative individual. You know, he was the first one to introduce me to music by playing the drums. He was the first one to put a Minolta X700 camera in my hand. So, of course, I'm feeling that extreme void. And I say this with a huge caveat, trying to continue a career that's enveloped around a solid relationship like my dad and myself is an arduous task at best, but it's the way I continue the legacy. So if you could understand that there's a huge delineation between the loss and the inspiration, but I utilize his passing to even motivate me more, that impetus to drive me more to spread his legacy and positivity and his words of wisdom that have helped me in leaps and bounds, not only in my own career, but to assist others in their career, which is why I do my podcast, which is why I do my photography and have over 150 EP and album covers helping other artists build their brand. So it just brings me great joy, and it's really gratifying to uplift the spirits of those that I work with in an artistic world. And I thank my dad for that.
That is beautiful. Such an amazing, deep respond to that question, and also the fact that relationship had on you, on your future, and what you do is everything. You know, we have it. A lot of people know that there's people in our lives that had a effect on what we're doing today, but have that vivid awareness of that connection is what I found very interesting, and I kind of relate. I relate to what you're saying, like about kind of bringing people up and motivating. That's really why I kind of put myself online as well, is because it's so important to create that vibrational being, like bring it up, bring it high, bring something in people's lives that it could have a positive effect. You did mention about working with artists. So do you like, what component exactly do you work? Is it the branding side or management side? How does it work?
Definitely. You know what's funny? Not the management side in so much as the visual branding. As a photographer, and I've been doing this for so long and dealing with corporate executives in the music industry, record labels, magazines, I kind of adapted their philosophy on how to best represent an artist. So I took all those principles and, of course, applied it to my own career. Since I'm getting commissioned to photograph artists, I might as well take it into my own hands to photograph artists that reach out to me. It's definitely a forte of mine because I love to make the best possible extension of an artist, whatever genre, rap, hip hop, country. I don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great challenge, and one that's always so fulfilling because at the end of the day, you know, the images are my babies, but they're also the babies of the artists. And when we sit there and just compile the images, I captured moments in time that are never going to be forgotten, you know. And again, the key element here is best representing the artist for what they stand for. And sometimes that is a challenge, but that's a challenge that I totally accept. You know, both my parents, my mom and my dad, always taught me that if you're going to do something, do it right the first time. I don't like micromanaging, and I never like people looking over my shoulder. First of all, you never had to, because I was always I exceeded expectations. That was always my habitual way of showing whoever I was working for that you can trust me, you know, and even if I didn't like the job, I always put my heart and soul into it. That's the difference between a lot of people, because we all bellyache. Oh, I hate my job. I don't want to wake up here. But you know what? I didn't like my job, but I had a job to do unless I would get fired. And integrity has always been at the summit of my ambitions. I always wanted to put forth my best foot and come correct, because even if you leave a job, you don't want to burn bridges. You don't want to burn relationships. And I take that seriously with my artists. And I'm known, you can go to Nashville, Vegas, LA, everyone's like, you got to deal with Manny. He's straightforward. He's honest, brutally honest. I have to be, because if I'm not, I'm doing a disservice to my client. Why am I going to lie? You know, it's nonsense. Then that it just taints my name, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely, you don't want to, you know, sugarcoat anything. You want to be direct and honest. People respect that. You know, there are times where you'll get that type of personality that will take it very personally, but and the entire explanation that you provided just now, your personality is of a personality of giving. So, and you're talking about integrity.
I know I'm cursed.
Yeah,
I admit it.
Well, no, but actually that's the key of success right there, that you have habitually, unconsciously or consciously, I'm not sure, but you have that integrity you mentioned. You have that integrity within first, and then you're portraying it to others. So how it is your thoughts, your feelings, what your actions are, your integrity. You have integrity with that. You're honest to yourself, and then you're giving to people, and then you're getting success back. Like it speaks for itself what you're doing, right? Like how your results are.
I think it's the only way to be. I don't want to live my life always looking over my shoulder. That's just nonsense. And you know, it's like the person that lies about it. Pretty soon you can't even keep up with your own lies. You know, you're like, wait, did I tell? So that's definitely not my world. It really isn't. But, you know, and I say this again, full transparency. I wasn't always like that, though. Just to give you a little anecdote to support what I'm saying is that, you know, both of my parents told the doctors when I was born, I say this all the time, that I was an abortion waiting to happen. Doctors didn't want to deliver me because they said I would be born with complications. And back in the day, you know how it is. We didn't have the technology. We didn't have the advent of all these incredible devices that can capture information that was unheard of back then, you know, today. But to make a long story short, here I am 51 years later doing everything I possibly can. And, you know, I was visually, verbally bullied all my life, you know, and I'm 6'2". I could defend myself.
Cool.
Yeah, but people don't realize there's tons of different ways of bullying an individual. So everyone always tried to change me. Teachers always thought I was retarded. That was the word when I was growing up. I was retarded. That kid's absolutely, there's something wrong with that kid just because I was a little boisterous. So I was always misunderstood, but I always had a kind heart, and I never liked to see someone fall. I would be the one to come and pick them up. And as the years elapsed, I developed a huge ego and a chip off my shoulder because of that. And let me tell you, I had a bigger ego than some of the stadiums that I've sold out. But I also learned that I wasn't happy at the time, you know, and I took a step back from music because I was so hurt internally. There was a missing void. And the point I'm trying to make is we all need to understand, because alluding to what we just discussed before, some people like when you're honest, some people don't. And the reason why they don't is because it's their lack of security of themselves. There's an insecurity. There's a void internally that they project on us, or in this case, myself. So I had to really understand where that was coming from and analyze who I was. And then when I finally arrived to that place, I made the conclusion, like, wait a second, I had a lot of things that I had to fix myself that I was, you know, projecting onto other people. And there was the turning point. And then the voice has catapulted that level of understanding to a place where now I'm beyond comfortable with who I am. And I'm even more comfortable helping people succeed. Listen, if I help you out, Samit, and you do much better than I do, good for you, man. Take the ball along with it. You know, I do things unconditionally. That's the problem with the world nowadays, especially in the entertainment industry, multiple parts of the world. It's what can you do for me? I never believed in that philosophy. And pretty soon it comes to an end. And unfortunately, a lot of relationships become fractured by that philosophy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it comes down to, I'm not sure if you believe in this, but it comes down to the law of cause and effect, right? And the problem is that many people, or masses, I would say, is they're not really conditioned or understand that law. It's not anyone's fault. It's just that we haven't been educated on that stuff. You know, we've just been educated to read, remember, repeat, and go out in the world and kind of develop. But once you understand that law and once we're living that way, you see doors start opening up, you know, like that's what's happening with the amazing stuff that you're doing. Can you tell us more about The Voice? Like, how did that happen? How did you get involved?
It's funny, but if I had $1 for every time I get this question asked, but it's funny, but I always revisit it. I can't help chuckling because there were so many juicy moments that comprised my journeys of today. And being on The Voice, people would immediately associate with, well, this guy wants to showcase his voice, wants to propel his career. And sure, all the accolades and the attention opened up a myriad of opportunities. But that wasn't the best part of the show, because I told the producers, I don't like these shows. I auditioned for American Idol. I auditioned for the X Factor time, did well. But certain things happened that transpired that I felt were a little bit like not in alignment with my interests. So I just left. With The Voice, it was different because the circumstances just, again, aligned with my interests. And I guess the production felt really, really refreshed that I was so honest that I didn't want to go to those shows. And I explained why. I don't want to get into that because there's a list from here to next Wednesday. But on the show, I gained a purpose. You know, the problem that I personally had was always, and we entrepreneurs always worry about the end result. What's our ROI? How much money are we going to make? How many followers are we going to gain? Therein lies the mistake and the issues and the problems that arise because we're so worried about that end result that we miss the journey. You know, nobody said it's a sprint, it's a marathon. So on The Voice, I developed a purpose to help. There were moments where I had 30, 40 of my fellow contestants and parents in my room, teaching them how to meditate, how to live in the moment, how to forget the 90 seconds that you're on stage, because that goes by in a blink of an eye. Let's focus on the journeys, all the amazing people and talented individuals that you met, rehearsing in the hallways at 11 o'clock and getting yelled at, you know, sitting by the pool, playing acoustic guitar impromptu. So people really need to start living in the moment and embracing life. And the passing of my dad, that's one thing that taught me that every second that I'm allowed to breathe is the most refreshing second. And I embrace that wholeheartedly. You know, take my socks off, walk on the grass. I don't care if you think that's spiritual woo-woo. I could care less. Makes me feel good. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me humbled, keeps me together with Mother Nature and the things that really matter. Because materialistic things, these are all illusions of the world. I know, because I wanted my Rolls Royce Phantom, my mansion. My whole philosophy of what is successful and happy for me, it was completely convoluted and heightened, especially after the loss of my dad, that family, your health, healthy relationships, ridding your life of toxicity is important, and following your truth, because when you follow your truth organically, things start to develop and they start to become more real, and you start getting signs. And meditating was a huge factor that helped me quiet my mind. You know, we as human beings have like 60,000 thoughts a day. Our brain is craving for some quiet time. And most gurus and professionals in whatever industry will tell you, meditating gave me the most incredible ideas. And they come as a whim, you know, because they heighten your senses. But yeah, that's what The Voice gave me, a purpose. Now I use my voice and I scatter my voice and my message on multiple platforms to help bring the vibration up, to inspire, to motivate, to give you a different outlook. And that's my purpose. You asked me 10 years ago, I would have been like, nah, my purpose is to sell out arenas, is just get a Grammy and Emmy. Those are nice things too to have, you know, but they do not, that's not an extension of who you are. That's an extension of your hard work. And that's commendable, but not who you are. I'm Manny. I'm the bald guy with a microphone who sits here and enjoys the moment. Right now, this is important for me, Saeed. I put all of my effort in this conversation with you. When it's over, then making coffee. If that's important, that'll be important. talking to my mom, that'll be important. Segments in the day, and we're so scattered with, I got to finish this. I got to finish that. It's that Western mentality. We need to slow down. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so true. I call it ignite now. So ignite now, meaning like whatever I'm doing in the now moment, I ignite it. Like I put fire under it. I make it exciting. I make it amazing. And that's why I can relate to what you're saying. And I'm really, my next question is that, do you get a lot of mindset training? Like you're on point with a lot of the stuff that governs our being as a human being. So I'm just curious, is it unconscious or like, did you actually get studied in it, or are you naturally like that, or life lessons got you to this point?
I get life lessons 100%. I would probably say 95% life lessons and about 5% an influx of information that I've either read or acquired from different sources. I'll pick up an occasional book of Wayne Dyer, Esther Hicks. I align with that self type of improvement, but I pick snippets. Yeah. I don't believe in completely applying an entire philosophy because we're all different. I pick and choose what works for me. And what I realized, it's pretty amazing. I'm not a religious guy by no stretch, or spiritual. I don't like to fall under those categories, but I just want to do good in the world. And if that aligns with people's rendition of God, then so be it. But I think that just treating people with kindness and applying the things, as I said before, notice how I'm beating this to a dead horse, just being yourself, making people better. That's my philosophies. And ironically, everyone's like, man, where did you go to school? Where did you study that? I mean, I have some great authors, Tony Robbins. I didn't study these people. My life taught me the hard way. And I got to tell you, I prefer that because most people can be bookworms. There's street smart and there's book smart. I prefer the street smart version because it's real. I've experienced it. The failures and the hardships gave me that thick skin. And it was a direct correlation at the time of the pain that I actually felt. So I had to figure out a way how to overcome this, and books at the time weren't my salvation. I couldn't resort to that. I needed to figure out some real life situations, whether it was work, finances, career. And it all came down to compartmentalizing my days and focusing on what I truly loved. It's music, it's photography. So I needed to immerse master my craft. Everyone wants to be famous. It drives me nuts. Everyone wants to be famous, but nobody wants to do the work. I say this in every episode. You got to put in the hours, man. And I always bring up this quote. It's one of my favorite, Michelangelo quotes. If people realized how many thousands and thousands and thousands of hours that I spent painting and the Sistine Chapel and everything that I embarked on, I wouldn't be called a master at all. It was just dedication and commitment. That's genius. Repetition will always be the mother of all skill. And of course, some people are born with this innate X factor of talent given, but you put those two elements together, then you have a super beast in whatever, in sports, music, in the world of medicine, doesn't matter, but you have to cultivate a craft. If you love it, work hard at it and master that craft. And that to me has always been the key to success. And also networking. Network is your net worth. We all know that as entrepreneurs, that definitely helps, because it's like a tree that falls in the woods that nobody hears. You have to make some noise and create a buzz around you. But with all those elements, I think you have I know you have a higher probability of doing something good for yourself and in the world. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Find a purpose and devote your life to it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And everything that you're saying definitely shows that you have found your purpose, and there's more to it. Obviously, like there's a bigger purpose. Obviously you're probably working towards, but you're on the right track. Like I'm so blessed to have this opportunity, or grateful to be able to meet with you and talk to you about this. Man. Yeah.
Feelings mutual, but these relationships aren't a coincidence. They happen because time.
Wow, man. You're on point.
Right. I believe that when you're ready, things just unleash because it's been a brutal year, but you stay the course. My dad always taught me, and this is one of the things I'm still working on. And I think I'm going to be working until the day I have to die, because I'm going to be like, not yet. I'm not ready to that. I'm just not ready. I have no patience. Right. And I say that with a huge caveat because so many opportunities in my life growing up till this day, I've either missed or overlooked because I just don't have the patience to wait. So I'm still working on that, and I'm learning in leaps and bounds. And I feel that combining patience with your passion, that is such a huge asset, but it's a tough pill for me to swallow, but I'm still learning. I'm always learning. And that's why I've become such a good teacher, because I'm a better student. I'll learn from you. I'll learn from my daughter, my wife, my mom. And the only way to do that is another element that we need to watch out for is our ego. You got to get rid of the ego, man. It'll just destroy you. You know, it'll close your mind. It'll really narrow your field of view of the possibilities, because certain things don't end up the way you see it. You know, sometimes, like I said, put your best foot forward, follow your passions, and let it come naturally. And you'll be surprised. What you thought was what you wanted as an end result turns out to be entirely something different. That's even better than what you initially anticipated. So it's an awesome and fascinating topic. You know, I could sit and talk to you all day.
Yeah, same here. I love it. And it comes out to faith too, right? Like having faith. So having faith, and you're going after something, and that creates patience. What I see in people is that they're, like you mentioned, that they're always trying to get, right? They're trying to grow, get more followers, get more growth, get more clients, get more. They're pushing, they're forcing, but that only explains to me, it's like there's a lack of faith, because when you have faith, you take patience, you take little steps, you find everything that comes in your life for a reason that came into your life, and you build relationship, and you can tell that difference in people.
Yeah. The problem is that faith is so convoluted by the human race. You know, faith is associated to just religion. That has nothing to do with this, that. And that's the problem. It's so garbled and misconstrued.
Yeah.
Faith, like you said, for me,
you understood when I said faith. Like, I'm not talking about the religion. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah. I completely get you. And I agree with you. That's the thing. I'm siding with you because it is. Faith is this passion, right? And the expectation that this is what I love to do and things just work out. You know, because there's two trains of thought. You could either think negative or think positive. Like, why would you think negative? It's not going to get you anywhere. And the funny thing is, 99.9% of the things that we fear never happen. It's like this fabrication that cripples us. It's insane. But you have to learn. You know, it's not easy because we all go through that. But facing your fears, everything we want is on the other side of fear. That's the beauty of it.
Yes.
But getting to that point is a challenge. And it was a challenge for me too. But, you know, go ahead. And
they're both blind, right? They're both invisible. You don't know what you pick, faith or fear. And you mentioned that's a good point about that big percentage. There's just a small percentage, like you said, like such a small percentage of something turning sideways and really having something to worry about, like something that you should be worried about. Is such a small, your day-to-day stuff, like the 60,000 thoughts that we think, we're conditioned to think on the negative side. It's from our parents, our relatives, our neighbors. Sure. It's a
societal conventions, man.
Yeah.
Societal conventions. Absolutely. Yeah. And then, I'm not saying it's difficult to ignore. Sure, it is. Sometimes they creep in. The only difference between me and everyone that I discuss this and try to teach that is I have a lot more bullets in my belt that I could be like, wait, this is just a facade. Let me just quiet my mind, take a step back, meditate 5 minutes. All right, what is my why again? Oh yeah, I remember I started this because, passion. That's right. When you immerse yourself in your passion and you become so busy that you don't have time to be negative. You know, if you're too busy helping people, staying happy, being passionate about your craft, there's no time to be negative because you're surrounded by a great aura. So, and again, that comes with conditioning and practice.
Yes.
Mother of all skills. See how it's all relative. And I'm not the smartest man in the world by no stretch, but I am smart in the things that I've been able to accomplish and how I got here because of my own life experiences. And I'm very fortunate for all the hardships and failures. You have to be, because it's the only way to know what not to do. And society today is coddling our kids, you know, giving them trophies for 10th place, participation trophies. I think that's the biggest nonsense. I get a lot of heat for this, but I don't care. When I grew up, I'm going to tell you a quick anecdote. I was before music and before all this, baseball was my life. Okay, my life. I got cut from my 6th grade baseball team. Of course, I was sad at that age. You know, you don't know how else to feel. Cut from my 7th grade team. You know, the coach was like, "You're not good enough. You got to come back." So I can air with those stories of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan because I came back that last year, right? We went all the way to the championship game. I became an MVP, the best pitcher in the league, averaging 15 strikeouts a game. And the coaches even told me, why didn't we give you a shot? And now I look back, I'm like, because you weren't supposed to. I heard exactly what I needed to hear. The problem that we have nowadays is parents and coaches and all these people are not telling kids what they need to hear. You can't caress them and tell them it's okay. The world isn't like that. The world is not a fair place. If your kid sucks, okay, and I'm being extreme here. If your kid sucks in a sport, you got to tell them, listen, Manny, you're not good enough right now. You need to work on this. Your pitching is off. Your throwing, your mechanics are completely off. You need to go back and work your system and then come back. And if they have a problem, it's because of the values that they were instilled. Because if you go for a job interview, they're not going to be like, you know what, Samir, yeah, I like your skills. Maybe we'll hire you. It's good. Meanwhile, they have 10 other people that are so much better than you, are so much more passionate. They're not going to give you the job just because you came in for the interview. It doesn't work that way. It's a false expectation. And notice how I get flared up. I'm very passionate about that because our future depends on our kids. We need to be a little bit more realistic with things, especially with kids,
Yeah, so true.
I mean, I didn't want to derail off the topic, but I feel that's an integral part of growth, especially early on in a kid's career.
For sure. Like this is the kind of conversation that I'm all about when it comes to podcasting. I don't like to, script it or anything, just two friends talking, right? Those are the ones that people gain value from. And this kind of information can help or impact someone's life in a very small way. You've done your deed for today. So my son, he's in basketball. So he's always been in rep basketball. He's always been the tall kid because I'm 6'4", and all my uncles, my cousins, they're all 6'2" and plus. So he was a big guy. So they would all throw him a ball and he would fumble. He would miss the ball. He was not very good. I took him to one team. The second time they didn't want him anymore. So that kind of stuff. And I said, just hang in there. Just keep going. You're going to get it. So now he's 13. He's 6'4", flat foot. And the top team here in Toronto, Gators, they want him, but obviously COVID is shut down right now. He's getting a lot of training and stuff. So that hard work that you're talking about, and you have that mindset and you have that belief inside that you can accomplish it, you can add skills. You can change the way your inner self-image is, right?
Yeah. Now I'm all for inclusion. Okay. Now I'll give you a hypothetical situation. I'm a coach and I've got my team already. Your kid, I could see he's got heart. I still got to tell him, listen, you still need to work. You're not there yet. You can't be on the team because you're not there yet. However, you're on the team. You're going to help out. You're going to take notes. You're going to be the ball boy. You're going to go out and throw, catch, and warm up my pitchers and learn the game. Include you with respect to knowledge, right? Build the relationships with people that are better than you because I, as well as I know, if you're the smartest or the best athlete or entrepreneur or teacher, I don't care what it is, in the room, then you're in the wrong room. I like to be around people better than me that can elevate me, right? And it's always been my philosophy. And there's a lot of schools of thought in that. But to benefit the most, you have to be around people better than you. So inclusion in that sense, yes, have them part of the team so he can learn or she learn or whoever learn. That's cool. I'm all for that. But you can't give somebody a trophy just for participating.
No,
it doesn't work.
I agree with what you're saying because, we heard it. I heard it as well, especially in the younger age. But I think they stop at a certain age. I don't think they do it after 8, 7 or 8. I think they stop it. I'm not sure 100%. But if they do that for the older kids, in their teens and stuff, that's not going to be good for our future.
Not, especially, I believe it has to go back to kids too, because it's up to the parent to instill the ideals that doesn't mean you're a bad person. See, it's all about education. That's why I say it starts at home. Racism, you're not born with that. You're taught that. So the saying goes, if you could teach something so negative, then you could teach something positive. Yeah. There's no excuses, and I call BS on all that.
Yeah. What you pick. It's what you pick. And what you're impressing on the child's subconscious mind is what he's going to be when he's an adult. So make the right choices. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But the problem is a lot of people, they just don't know either, right? They just don't know what because thoughts, like, you control them, but there's, we just think it's natural to let the thoughts go through whatever our day, we don't have any control because that's the way we're conditioned, but there's a system to it. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal talk. Amazing. Probably do
Pleasure
it
was
again.
all mine, man. It was an honor. I love these morning talks. It's a great way to, ignite the morning. Now I'm ready. I'm fully charged and refueled and ready to tackle my day. Thanks to you.
Oh, no problem. And again, I've been, extremely honored that you came on the show, Manny. And I wish you like tremendous amount of success and all types of growth that you're looking for because of what you stand for. So what you stand for is so important that I want you to be a beacon of light for people to see that they can get help and listen to you, understand you. Because if you're changing lives as a profession,
yeah,
we need people like you to be out there as a beacon, right? And I wish you all that amazing success that you could possibly get.
I'll do it as long as I can until my last breath. And again, aligning with people like yourself, and things happen organically to get my message out. And I'm just living my truth and doing the best I can. No better than anybody else, man. So I appreciate you having me on the show, and I hope it served your audience, because I don't speak from my brain. I speak from my heart.
Perfect. So. I love it. I love that. The heart speaking. I'm all about that as well. Yeah. And again, thank you. And thank you to the audience. Get in touch with Manny if you have any questions. He's on Instagram. He, a great guy. Any kind of information or any kind of help or guidance you need, I'm sure you'll be happy that you guys connect with him. And thank you again, and have a great day.